Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and we're going to take a look at more of the content that CA is going to be throwing our way. So we've been seeing a lot of gameplay, teasers, live streams, and whatnot. This is going to be a look past the initial release of the title, forthcoming free LC content for Total Warhammer 2. So this is pretty awesome. This post is going to go over the Mortal Empires one, which is going to be the first slot here. So when I first saw this, I was like, holy shit, is that something new and big? It is big and it is kind of new, but we've already known about it. This is the combined map campaign, and they'll go over the details. We'll look through the post. That's mainly what it's about. But for the time being, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing here. So obviously, new Legendary Lords aplenty. The first one going to be for Skaven, then one for the High Elves, and then after that for the Lizardmen, and then down the line, it looks like we're seeing something a little bit pointy. Presumably that's going to be for the Dark Elves, but they do have it covered by this big gaseous cloud, so they're not super set on, I guess, what's going down the line. But yeah, that's awesome to see with these Legendary Lords. CA did say kind of earlier on that in terms of free LC, they didn't just want to release kind of new units or little mini campaigns, so to speak. They wanted to focus more on the Legendary Lords because that was something the community really wanted. Because each of these comes with its own unique start position on the campaign, which adds so much more variety and replayability to the campaign. So they recognize that, so that's why you're seeing a lot of the Legendary Lords popping up. The big one for me is going to be an experiment. What the hell is that? That is very interesting. People are wondering what they mean. So all we have to go off is obviously the image and the title. So an experiment, people are wondering, is that talking about something in the game? Like literally, is it a Skaven experiment, a new unit of some sort like the Hell Pit Abomination, or is it something else? To me, it seems more like CA is going to be trying something new with their free LC. It's probably a new variety of kind of pack that's coming at us. In terms of what it could be, I mean, here it's looking at the jungles at a settlement. Maybe people are speculating that maybe it's them implementing a new change to some settlements. Maybe, I really don't know. CA Grace did confirm that it's not Thankful here, so I just pulled up a little brief lore, so you can look into what Thankful's all about. There's like 50 pages of lore on him. But anyway, he is an infamous Grace here. So people were wondering if, hey, is he going to be kind of part of this experiment or one of the Legendary Lords? And I think Grace was saying, hey, explicitly, this isn't going to be a mini campaign or anything having to do with Thankful. As people were wondering. So, yeah, this is very much up in the air. I will stay tuned for more news about that. I'm curious what you guys think. But yeah, let's dive into the new Mortal Empires campaign. So as CA says, you know, Mortal Empires is actually going to be the combined campaign. So they say up here, talking mostly about how they're happy with the feedback they've gotten for the Eye of the Vortex campaign, saying that thus far, test groups, reviewers, YouTubers, live stream are enjoying the endgame. Thus far, I can say it does look very promising. I like the way you go through the rituals and the way there's stacked penalties with armies spawning to kind of cut you down and slow you down. And the pacing looks pretty good. And then they go into the Mortal Empires campaign itself. So here they start to give you some context. So they say that when you put them together, obviously it's the new world plus the old world, but they couldn't just straight up, as they say here, to do a stitch and fit job because they're kind of configured a little different. The proportions are slightly different. And so when they put them together, they've kind of had to morph the world and reshape it somewhat. So yeah, that's kind of the context they're giving here. And so they will fit together, but it's not going to be exactly a one-for-one fit. And they are saying that they're going to have to strip out some of the minor factions because obviously when you combine everything, that would be absurd. In any case, they're going to be talking about the 5 campaigns at the close of the trilogy, what it's going to look like. So the Old World, Warhammer 1, Eye of the Vortex, Warhammer 2 at launch, Mortal Empires, which combines the first 2. And this is going to come out a couple weeks after launch, I believe. And then Warhammer 3 when that comes out. And then what they're going to do after that is going to be a very big campaign, which is going to combine all 3 different maps. So they're not going to do something where it's like 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, and then 3 and 1, like the different combinations. No, they're just doing 1, 2, 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3. So this is going to be very exciting. This is going to have so much long-lasting potential, this campaign. My God, it's going to be unbelievable. So that's that. And here's where they give a bit more context into what's been going on for the new content team that's done tons of stuff for the game to flesh it out. And they do talk here about because the crew have put so much effort in every square mile of the old world, they're going to have to cut it out, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see which ones are going to make the cut and which one aren't. But they are saying they're stuffing in more factions than they were originally anticipating in the combined map. So in the Mortal Empires alone, we're up to 35 legendary lords across 25 different start positions. It's freaking insane. And then they also say that they are going to be keeping some of the mechanics. Here's a nice little settlement comparison. So the old world 142 to Mortal Empires 295, starting faction count 66 to 117. Good God, this campaign is going to be brutal. And you imagine when they get to the 1, 2, and 3, just how large that's going to be. That's freaking insane. I really hope this is something CA is able to pull off for later historical titles. God, that would be fantastic. And then here they talk about, yeah, end turns are definitely going to be a problem. There's not too much they can do. They say they're trying to work around it, but at some point, I mean, when you put this many factions on the board, it just becomes an issue that you can't really circumvent. So they say they're going to be keeping an eye on that, and that's probably going to be one of the main things that annoys players when that comes up. But that's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They did say that they're going to be keeping some of the new mechanics from Ire of the Vortex is going to be re-implemented into the combined campaign that wasn't in the old world. So for instance, when you're playing against both maps, rogue armies, ranged breath attacks for dragons, treasure hunting, encounters at sea, storms, shallows, and reefs, all the UI improvements, 8 to 10 city slots, choke point maps, and of course universal territory capture and climate suitability mechanics. So to me, the biggest ones are going to be this one. No longer will you have to be hard locked in terms of what you can conquer in the old world. That means if you go back and play as the dwarves, you'll have a bit more flexibility. So even if you just want to play one of the standard factions from the old world, now you can play it a little bit more differently. And that's great. And then the choke point maps being implemented into the old world, to me that's going to be very fun, because I think what they can do now is go back and really make a nice big dwarven Karak. To me, most Karaks are going to be choke point maps instead of being these kind of standard sieges. So yeah, a choke point map would be great implementation for the dwarves, and maybe even some of the larger empire cities could be altered to be a choke point map itself. So yeah, that's kind of it, what they've announced. And then at the end they say, unfortunately, because of the way Norska was implemented, it's not going to be in the first release of Mortal Empires, but it will come out later. So there will be a patch coming out a little bit after the combined map comes out that will then reintroduce Norska back into the game. But yeah, that's it. So massive evolving thing for part 2, and they say expect more. And lastly, CA puts this important little teaser here, which basically says, we know that not all the empires and characters featured in Mortal Empires are mortal in the truest sense of the word. So talking about like elves and whatnot, but compared with what we may be stirring on the distant horizon. Talking about presumably, I would think, forces of chaos and all sorts of immortal gods and stuff that'll be coming later. So that is an interesting little teaser about that. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely stay tuned for more. And if you're here at the end, I do recommend that you go over and check out Epic History TV's channel, where I have been working with him behind the scenes to put together this massive, sprawling series of videos on Alexander the Great. So definitely go ahead and check that out. It is going to be the bomb diggity. So see you in the next one. Peace out.